Craig Shirley is going to have something to say about the Reagan comparison coming up. The author of the new book, The Last Act, The Last Years of Reagan and His Legacy. Don't go away.
Rubio did better than Reagan did at that same period in the campaign 40 years later.
This week in New Hampshire.
All I can say is wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I knew Ronald Reagan. I covered Ronald Reagan. And Marco Rubio is no Ronald Reagan.
Here now is proof and an example that when America ignores these problems don't ignore us.
And Marco Rubio may be the most dynamic speaker that the Republican Party has seen ever, actually. Since Lincoln, Rubio did better than Reagan did at that same period in the campaign.
He's the next Reagan. Marco Rubio, one-term senator. Never run a business, never pretty much done anything outside of politics, as far as I can tell. I mean, he's an affable, nice person. I like Marco a lot. But, I mean, I wouldn't be building him up as the next Reagan or the next or Lincoln-esque. He needs some time to develop, don't you think? And maybe even learn from some of his past mistakes. I'm not saying that's not possible. I think it is possible. And I'm not trying to dump all over Rubio, but he came in as a Tea Party guy, and he got co-opted by the establishment. That's what happened to Rubio. I mean, he didn't ask for my advice, but I would have advised him to go a different direction. Joining us now, Craig Shirley, the author of the fantastic new bestseller, Last Act, The Final Years and Emerging Legacy of Ronald Reagan. Craig, a biographer, writer, great friend of the show. Craig, first of all, congratulations again on the book. It is fantastic. Oh, my gosh.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you very, very much.
And I know you just spoke at the Reagan Library.
Yes.
You came to mind, Craig, when I heard this morning by Hugh Hewitt. I mean, he is not only Lincoln, but he's Reagan, or he's better than Reagan. Your reaction?
I would say, for the record, comparing Marco Rubio to Ronald Reagan is like comparing Caitlyn Jenner to Bruce Jenner. There's just no comparison. You know, it's like comparing Elmer Fudd to Winston Churchill. If Rubio was such a great speaker, why isn't he doing better in the polls? What great thought, what great signature issue do you identify with Marco Rubio other than being a member of the Gang of Six? I mean, you identify Panama Canal, Let's Make America Great Again, the falling down of the Soviet Union, the resuscitation of the American economy. You associate lots of great ideas and lots of great words with Ronald Reagan. You don't so it's just a foolish statement. I suspect that he was trying to regain the past 15 minutes of fame he had when he got his half question at the last debate.
Well, I think that you remember when Hugh Hewitt asked Trump all those questions about,
Sure.
the various terrorist groups, the Quds forces, and who's leading the Taliban or whatever it was. I can't remember.
I think he asked him about Metternich in the 18th century and who he signed the Treaty of Paris with or something. It was very esoteric stuff.
It's pretty funny that when you look back to April of this year, there was a poll out, Mason-Dixon poll, that showed that Rubio and Bush were tied in Florida. I'm just looking it up now on my computer,
right.
But they were basically tied at 30 to 31%. They were not expecting Trump, and Carson isn't much of a factor in Florida, but they were not expecting the likes of Donald Trump to upend their establishment cart.
The establishment wasn't expecting Donald Trump. Nobody. You were there early. There were others there early, but among the establishment, and I fervently include Hugh Hewitt in that category of being an establishment Republican, nobody saw the rise of Donald Trump whatsoever. Nobody. And even to this day, they're still trying to suggest that he's going to flame out.
Well, when someone like a Jeb Bush flails and flops and falters as much as he is, you would think that the establishment would go to them. So they think to themselves, maybe in a couple of these issues we need to start compromising with the grassroots. Maybe we have to look at this a little bit differently. Instead, they do the opposite. They just dig in further and offer up. It's like. So Rubio is to Bush what Ryan is to Boehner.
Yes.
It's just the same. It's more the same. They don't think, maybe we should do trade deals differently, or maybe we should really do a real border enforcement initiative.
Just view the relationship between government and people differently. How about starting with the broader before we get specifics? Just view their philosophy differently, that it doesn't work. The establishment bromides don't work, and they never have worked.
And there's this other, small issue of, when, as we saw in the PPP poll, this was back a month ago in September, and I don't believe it's changed much. I believe, I'm saying, the Bush's position was really weak in his home state. A subsequent poll, confirmed that. But I believe a plurality of the voters, no, more than that, 47% thought that Bush should drop out of the race, and Rubio, just 42% believing he should continue on with his campaign. 48% of Florida voters on September 15th said that he should end his race for the presidency in his home state.
Yeah, and the other 53% didn't know he was in the race.
I was like, were they doing that with Ronald Reagan? I don't think so. Unbelievable. Craig, I just thought I had to talk to you today because when I heard Hewitt make the Lincoln-Reagan comparison, I almost fell off the chair. So anyway,
I did too.
Oh, hilarious! Thank you so much. Always great to talk to you. The last act, the final years, an emerging legacy of Ronald Reagan. It's our featured selection on LauraIngraham.com and our Facebook page. Phenomenal book. Oh, I mean, you just got to get it. It's a great book. Great gift for Christmas as well.